The fragile illusion. Imagine, if you will, a picturesque suburban street, adorned with neatly trimmed hedges, bright flower beds, and the infectious laughter of children echoing through the air. This is where our story unfolds, a tale of love, betrayal, heartache, and, ultimately, redemption. This is the story of Michael and Sarah, a couple who spent 2 decades building a life together, only to find that the foundations of their love were tested in the most devastating way. For 20 years, Michael had admired Sarah as more than just the love of his life. She was the sun that brightened his day. They had 4 beautiful children, each a little reflection of their unique personalities. The eldest, Anna, was fiercely independent and intelligent. Lucas was adventurous and loved exploring every corner of the backyard. Little Ava, the dreamer, spent hours drawing whimsical landscapes. And finally, there was baby Noah, just 5, whose laugh could light up even the darkest days. From the outside, they were the quintessential family. Vacations on the beach, evenings spent laughing until their stomachs hurt, and school projects that turned into family events. But the nature of their reality was often obscured by the loving facade they had built together. As a teacher, Michael poured his heart into his work, inspired by the passion he would return home to share. He would often hear Sarah's enchanting voice as she sang lullabies to their children, her warmth wrapping around their family like a soft blanket. Sarah was his partner in every sense. Her nurturing spirit coaxed their little ones through life's inevitable trials, ensuring that their home was a sanctuary filled with kindness and affection. Yet, like any relationship, cracks began to form. And if I could take a moment to interject, allow me to emphasize an essential truth. Sometimes, when we hold on to the illusion that everything is perfect, we overlook the subtle signs that signal the storm brewing beneath the surface. It started with her phone. Michael had always appreciated Sarah's dedication to their family. Suddenly, he noticed that she became increasingly protective of her phone, taking calls in another room, texting hurriedly, and flashing uncomfortable smiles when he asked about the late-night calls. He brushed it off, believing that perhaps it was work-related or related to her personal hobbies. After all, hadn't she just started a blog about parenting struggles? He was proud of her for finding her voice. But my friends, it's often those small red flags that begin as gentle whispers and steel themselves into shouts. One fateful winter afternoon changed everything. One day, Michael decided to come home early from school to surprise Sarah. He had planned to take her out for a nice dinner. As he entered their cozy home, he was greeted not by the usual sounds of laughter, but by a profound silence that prickled his skin. Setting his groceries on the kitchen counter, he wandered toward the hallway leading to the living room when he saw it. The gleaming bracelet lying carelessly on their coffee table, one he had never seen before. His heart raced, a sense of foreboding creeping into his chest. Just as doubt began to swirl, he heard the laughter of their children echoing from the backyard. Michael stepped towards the door and froze, his heart sinking into a pit of despair. Sarah was playing with their children, her face alight with joy. But beside her stood a man, a tall, handsome figure whose laughter intertwined with hers. The warmth between them felt too intimate, too familiar. Who is he? Michael thought, a storm of emotions swirling in his chest. Jealousy, confusion, and betrayal clawed at him, battling against the love that had blossomed for so many years. Michael's presence shifted the atmosphere, tension slicing through the joyous laughter. "Michael, you're home early," Sarah exclaimed, masking her surprise with a smile that felt too strained. "Who's he?" Michael asked, keeping his voice steady despite the tempest brewing inside. "This is Tom," she said, his name falling from her lips like a poison. "He was just helping me with the garden." The way she spoke, the frantic desperation in her voice, sent shivers down his spine. "Doing garden work," he scoffed, "on a winter afternoon?" The laughter from the children ceased as they realized the change in their father's tone. Anna, their eldest, looked from her mother to Michael, confusion etched across her face. Tom extended his hand. "Nice to meet you, Michael." But Michael, a man of few words in the face of anger, simply nodded, his heart racing as he wrestled with disbelief. That evening was an excruciating silence, flavored with the clinking of dishes and the soft murmurs of children asking questions they sensed but didn't understand. Michael felt trapped, a stranger in his own home. Transitioning to night seemed surreal as he tucked the children into bed, their innocence wrapping around him like a safety blanket. As he lay awake that night, every moment they had shared over the last 2 decades played in his mind as if a film strip had been unfurled. What had he missed? The cold truth seeped in that just days ago, he had celebrated their anniversary, showering Sarah with the love she had reciprocated through their marriage. Yet now, the betrayal spurred a wall between them, solidifying overnight. He wanted to confront her about the bracelet he found. He wanted answers. But then, doubt began to gnaw at him. Was there something deeper beneath their family's struggles? Was he simply unaware of her silent battles? Over the next few weeks, Michael observed the unraveling threads of their life. There were late-night coaching sessions that turned into evening walks, hastily written messages she shielded from him, and a shift in her attentiveness. A once warm and inviting home began to feel cold and desolate. The children sensed the unease. Lucas stopped asking his father to play catch, and Ava grew quiet, immersed in her doodles. Noah, blissfully unaware, kept singing nursery rhymes, a bittersweet reminder of simpler days. It pierced Michael's heart to see them bearing the weight of this turmoil without any understanding of the chaos swirling around them. Most incredibly, Michael found himself grappling with conflicting emotions: love, anger, confusion. So, he did what many do in times of distress. He retreated to the solace of routine and the school where he taught. He shared his emotions indirectly with his students, like an artist painting colors on a blank canvas, channeling his turmoil through passionate discussions about literature and life. It was amidst the stories of betrayal and growth in his literature class, as he lectured about forgiveness, that he realized how toxic secrets could be, not just for individuals, but for families too. After weeks of silence and growing tension, Michael finally reached the tipping point. One evening, as they sat across from each other in the dim light of the kitchen, he gathered the courage to speak. "Sarah, we can't keep avoiding this," he said, his heart pounding. "I heard laughter that day, and it cut deep. It's time for honesty. What is happening between the two of you?" Tears filled her eyes, and for a moment, Michael almost felt sympathy for the anguish he saw. Her voice trembled. "I never wanted to hurt you, Michael. I was lonely." The rawness of her admission hung in the air, heavy and suffocating. But that single word, lonely, pierced him deeply. He felt momentarily adrift, swimming through the sea of confusion where love and betrayal collided. "I trusted you with my life, with our children," he replied, the sorrow spilling into anger. "What do I do with that trust now?" The days that followed were shrouded in a heavy silence that enveloped the home they had built. At times, they ventured into the murky waters of conversation, each attempting to piece together the fragments of their feelings. Michael learned that Sarah felt isolated in her role as a mother, often overwhelmed. She had sought companionship elsewhere, thinking it would fill a void, but realizing too late the extent of her mistake. They sought therapy to navigate the tumultuous waters of their relationship. In these sessions, Michael learned how to express his feelings without the suffocating weight of blame. Sarah began to acknowledge her actions, uncovering her struggles with identity as a wife and mother. With time, they both discovered the harsh truth. They had disconnected from each other in their busy lives. Cutting through the heart of their work was vulnerability, the act of laying everything bare. Sarah began to reconstruct her own identity beyond her role as a mother, while Michael learned how to support her without sacrificing their own intimacy. They dove into rebuilding their relationship stone by stone, establishing a foundation of communication that felt real and essential. As weeks turned to months, Michael noted changes, not just in their relationship, but within their family. They introduced family nights, where they would play games, share stories, and openly talk about their feelings. It became a sacred ritual. One night, while playing charades, laughter echoed through the house. Michael caught Sarah's eye, and for a fleeting moment, memories of their carefree youth flooded back. It was as if the warmth had returned, even if it wasn't identical. Gradually, they both realized the importance of forgiveness, not just towards each other, but also within themselves. Sarah's guilt was a heavy burden, one she had never stripped away. Michael, haunted by the sting of betrayal, learned that healing was a slow process, but it began to take root with every honest conversation they shared. Even Tom, despite the heartbreak and anger, became a part of their painful journey. Rather than hide from the truth, they invited him to a respectful discussion that closed the chapter on betrayal and opened doors to healing. Tom apologized, understanding the depths of pain his actions caused. 2 years later, I invite you to visualize the scene. Michael stood once again in front of their family home, but this time, sunlight streamed across the lawn, illuminating the vibrant flowers that Sarah tended with care. Their relationship, once marked by shadows of secrecy, was now flourishing in honesty. The bond they had forged was like an intricate tapestry, woven with threads of pain, joy, vulnerability, and hope. They still faced challenges, yes, but they now possessed tools and trust that allowed them to work through issues as partners, willing to listen and learn from each other. As he glanced at their children playing in the garden, captivating moments unfolding around them, Michael felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. The scars of their past remained, yet they transformed into powerful symbols of resilience. Together, they had navigated the storm, learning that the journey through chaos often leads to the most profound understandings of love. Michael understood, with every fiber of his being, that love is not simply an emotion, but a choice, an active decision made in every moment, an echo that reverberates through time. The path to redemption was fraught with struggles, but it was necessary to nurture the seeds of growth born from hardship. In the twilight of their journey, Michael whispered a silent prayer of gratitude, not for the perfection of their union, but for the imperfect journey that taught them the true meaning of love, trust, and redemption. And as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow over their home, he took Sarah's hand in his, knowing that together they could face anything the world threw at them. Forever rekindled, their love flowed forward, illuminating the darkest corners with the promise of hope.